Let's offer our obeisances to Lord Sri Krishna. So please repeat after me with folded hands. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so text 21. So let's recite. Avyaktoksharah ityukta samahu paramam gatim yam prapya na nivartante Avyaktoksara ityuktas Tamahu paramam gatim Yam prapya na nivartante Yam prapya na nivartante Tadhama paramam mama Avyaktoksara ityuktas Tamahu paramam gatim Yam prapya na nivartante Tadhama paramam mama. Take some of these citations.
Avyaktoksara ityuktas Tamahu paramam gatim Yam prapya na nivartante Tadhama paramam mama. Avyaktoksara ityuktas Tamahu paramam gatim Yam prapya na nivartante Tadhama paramam mama.
Avyaktoksara ityuktas
Avyaktoksara ityuktas
aham paramam gatim
Tamahu paramam gatim
yat praptena nivartante
Yam prapya na nivartante
tadhama paramam mama.
Tadhama paramam mama.
Avyaktoksara ityuktas
Avyaktoksara ityuktas
Tamahu paramam gatim
Tamahu paramam gatim
Yam prapya na nivartante
Yam prapya na nivartante
Tadhama paramam mama.
Tadhama paramam mama.
Very much. So word for word meaning. Avyaktaha unmanifested. Aksharaha infallible. Iti thus. Uktaha each said. Tam that. Ahuhu is known. Paramam the ultimate. Gatim destination. Yam which prapya gaining na never nivartante come back tat that dhama abode paramam supreme mama my translation and purport by His Divine Grace is Vedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. That which the Vedantists describe as unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, that place from which, having attained it, one never returns, that is my supreme abode. That which the Vedantists describe as unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, that place from which, having attained it, one never returns, that is my supreme abode. The supreme abode of the personality of Godhead, Krishna, is described in the Brahma Samhita as Chintamani Dham, a place where all desires are fulfilled. The supreme abode of Lord Krishna, known as Goloka Vrindavan, is full of palaces made of that stone. There are also trees called desire trees that supply any type of eatables upon demand. And there are cows known as Surabhi cows which supply the limitless supply of milk. In this abode, the Lord is served by hundreds of thousands of goddesses of fortune or Lakshmis. And He is called Govinda, the primal Lord and the cause of all causes. The Lord is accustomed to blow His flute, Venum Panantam. The transcendental form is the most attractive in all the worlds. His eyes are like lotus petals, and the color of His body is like the color of clouds. He is so attractive that His beauty excels that of thousands of cupids. He wears saffron cloth, a garland around His neck, and a peacock feather in His hair. In the BhagavadGita, Lord Krishna gives only a small hint of His personal abode, Goloka Vrindavan, which is the supermost planet in the spiritual kingdom. A vivid description is given in the Brahma Samhita. Vedic literatures, Katha Upanishad, state that there is nothing superior to the abode of the Supreme Godhead, and that abode is the ultimate destination. Purushanna param kanchi sa kashtha paramagati. When one attains to it, he never returns to the material world. Krishna's supreme abode and Krishna himself are non-different, being of the same quality. On this earth, Vrindavan, 90 miles southeast of Delhi, is a replica of that same Goloka Vrindavan located in the spiritual sky. When Krishna descended on this earth, he sported on that particular tract of land known as Vrindavan, comprising about 168 square miles in the district of Mathura, India. Hare Krishna. Om Jnana-Timirandasya Jnana-Jana-Shalakya Chakshur-Kundra-Tandana Tasmai Shri-Guru-Devam Shri Chaitanya-Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam-Rupa-Kadamaya Kadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri-Guru Shri-Padakamalam Shri-Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri-Rupam Sagrajatam Sarvana Raghunatham Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vikamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpade गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So today we are going to get a glimpse of a very special place which Krishna calls as, that is his abode. Is it visible from there? Yes. Okay. So he mentions in this verse that Avyaktokshara iti uktas tamahu paramamgati. Avyakta and Akshara. And these words we have been hearing from past few verses. So before I start, is anybody for the first time here? So just to give a little bit glimpse, so we recite, I will just take a step back for new here, that every Sunday we meet here and recite a verse from BhagavadGita, and we are currently in the chapter 8. In the beginning of this chapter, Arjuna asked Lord Shri Krishna about 6 or 7 questions, several questions, that what is Adhyatma, what is Adidaiva, what is Karma. And along with those, he asked one of the very important questions, Prayana Kalech Katham Neyosi Niyata Atmabhi, that how can one think of you at the time of death, at the critical time, that is the critical time of everybody's life, when we are leaving this body, it's not very pleasant. So how can one think of you, and what is his destination? So Lord Krishna answers all the other questions, what is Adhyatma, Adidaiva, Karma, etc. in a couple of verses. But then from text 5 onwards, he spends the whole chapter answering that one important question. What happens at the time of death, at the time when we are leaving this body? So in the beginning he said, Antakalecha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayati madbhavam yati nastyatra samsaya. That at the time of death, Antakala, whoever thinks of me when giving up this body, he will come to my abode, to me. Of this there is no doubt. And then he says, what about others then? In the next verse he says that Yam yam vapi smaran bhava tejat kyante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. That others who cannot think of me, so whatever yam yam va api, whatever thought they have when they are leaving this body, that type of destination they will get for sure. And then he said that tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddha cha. That therefore, all the time, sarveshu kaleshu, think of me all the time. But at the same time, yuddha cha. Where is this Gita spoken to Arjuna? On the battlefield of Kurukshetra. What is the role of Arjuna there? As a warrior, fighter, right? And what is his duty as a fighter? To fight. So he's saying, perform your duty of fighting. Don't give that up. But how? Think of me all the time. So just not that you think of me and forget everything. Our concept of God is in this world is very different. That when God is on my side, I don't have to do anything. I can just relax and God will do everything for me. Krishna never ever said that. Krishna never said to Arjuna, "You're my friend, go take the back seat, I'll take care of this. Don't worry about this. Have fun." No. He said, do your duty. Perform your duty. How? Always thinking of me. And then further on that same question, what happens? How can one think of me at the time of death? He gave different things that we should think about. Then he gave description of the material world. How in the couple of verses ago, in the 17th verse, he said, Sahasra Yoga Paryantam Ahardiyat Brahmano Vidu Ratrim Yuga Sahasrantam Tehu Ratra Vidojana. That Brahmaji, who is the first progenitor, first creator in this world, his day is comprised of 1,000 yugas. That is about 4.32 billion years on earthly planet. And same is his night. And then he says that, but here, whenever Brahma wakes up, everything is manifest. And then when he goes to sleep, during his night time, everything is unmanifest. So that's the word unmanifest or avyakta that is used in this. Avyakta. And then he says in the next verse that this is what he said. At the time of beginning of Brahma's day, everything becomes manifest. So what does vyakta and avyakta means, or manifest and unmanifest means? Manifest means something that we can perceive or we can relate through our material senses. That is manifested to us. But avyakta is something beyond our perception that we cannot know, we cannot understand. That is beyond our jnanendriyas or knowledge acquiring senses. So this he explains after giving the description of material world in the previous verse, in the previous 20th verse, he said that Parah tasmatu bhava anya. But there is anya bhava, anya nature, other nature that is para, superior to this material nature, which I told you, which becomes manifest and unmanifest. Paras tasmatu bhava anya vyakta avyakta sanatana, which is beyond manifestation and unmanifestation, which is always unmanifested to our material senses. And then in today's verse it says that avyakto akshara. So in continuation of that verse, describing about that parama nature or paramadhama or spiritual world, he describes it is avyakta. He repeats that word again, unmanifest, and akshara. Akshara. Akshara means something that continuously with the period of time getting deteriorated, which is declining, which is, so everything if we see in this material world, so avyakta is unmanifested and akshara, which is eternal or which is infallible, which doesn't go through transformations or changes because of time in this material world. In this material world, everything is going through 6 different types of changes or transformations, which is in Sanskrit called Shadavikara. So everything comes into being or created or gets birth, then it grows, then it creates some byproducts, like trees will give birth to seeds, that seed can produce another tree, or humans and animals will give birth to children, they will give another children. So it creates another byproducts, then it stays for some time, then it dwindles, it starts decaying, and in the end it vanishes. It's pralaya or destroyed, or what we call as death. So everything in this material world is going through these 6 different transformations. But the spiritual nature is beyond these transformations. It doesn't go through these transformations. And that we can also even in this material world actually. when we say that I, whom do I refer to? Am I referring to this body? Because the body I had several years ago, let's say if I show you a picture of mine when I was 5 years old, do I look the same now? No, that body, even from medical perspective, that body is dead and gone. So that body is gone. I have a different body now, but I still identify myself with the same I which was there when I was 5 years old. Right? So who is that I then? So we can feel that that spiritual nature is avyakta. That is, we cannot perceive that with material senses. That is of spiritual nature. But we can feel it. By example, by proper study, by proper knowledge, we can understand it. In the same manner that avyakta that Krishna is describing, that parastasmatu bhava anya, that nature also we can understand with proper understanding, proper guidance, proper knowledge. So, to understand that world, what we will do is, as Prabhupada said in the purport, that in the BhagavadGita, Krishna gives only a glimpse, a very short example or description of that spiritual world. But in Brahma Samhita, when Brahmaji is the first living entity in this material world, when he was created and when he offered the prayers, when he was given knowledge through heart, because there was no one to give him knowledge, right? So it is said that Divya Jnana Hridaya Prakashite, that Divya Jnana, he was enlightened through within the heart by Krishna, and then he offered his prayers, beautiful prayers to Lord Shri Krishna. And in those prayers are called as Brahma Samhita. So in Brahma Samhita, he gives the description. So what we will do is today we'll take little bit tour of a very high level structure of this whole creation. So in Brahma Samhita there is one of the verses which says that Brahmaji says, Golokanamni nijadhami tale chatasya Devi Mahesha Haridham Suteshu Teshu Tete Prabhava Nichaya Vihitaschayena Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So he says that Goloka Namni Nijadhami, that Krishna, his Lord Shri Krishna, his abode, his Nijadham, his personal abode is called as Goloka or Goloka Vrindavan. And then Tale, underneath that, so this from the hierarchy perspective, the topmost planetary system where the spiritual, even in the spiritual planets, the topmost planet that Krishna also explained, Parastasmatu Bhava Anya. In that Anya Bhava, the topmost spiritual planet is Goloka Vrindavan. But even in the spiritual planet, up to this material sky, there are different gradations or different sections in this creation. And those are described here. And what are those? From the bottom up, it is Devi Mahesha Haridham. So Devi Dham. Devi Dham is also called as the material creation or the material Prakriti, where we are right now here, in this material creation. So if you see on the lowest planet here, if you see this section, the white part, effulgence here is Brahma Jyoti, that separates the above the spiritual world and the lower part is the material world. The material world, there is a Karana ocean or the causal ocean, or it is also called as Viraja river, in which the first incarnation, Purusha incarnation of Krishna is called Mahavishnu or Karana Vishnu, is lying in the Yoga Nidra. And when he breathes in and out through his pores, when he is breathing out through his air pores, there are thousands, unlimited bubbles coming out. And that each bubble is said to be one universe, single universe. And then here if you see, there is one expanded universe that is shown. So each universe it's like a bubble which is half filled with water. And that Mahavishnu enters in each of these bubbles as second Purusha incarnation called Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, or also called as Padmanabha. Padmanabha because from his navel there is a Padma or lotus that sprouts on which Brahma is created in each universe. And then that Brahma, with knowledge and the material he was given from Lord Shri Krishna, creates engages in the secondary creation. And then he creates the 14 different planetary systems, what we Chauda Bhuvan. And we are right in the middle earthly planetary system. So this is a little bit description about the Devi Dham or the material world. It is called Devi Dham because it says in third line, Tete Prabhavanija. So in each section there is a controller that is assigned by Krishna. So the material creation, the controller is Durga Devi. Durga. Dur means difficult, Ga means to go. So she is like a jailer who is protecting or containing all the living entities in this world. For them, it is very difficult to get out of this material creation. And that's why she is called Durga. And that's why this material creation is also called as Devi Dham. Now, above this, above Brahma Jyoti, if you see there a mountain here, that is called Mahesh Dham. Mahesh Dham, or also called as Kailash Dham. So that Kailash Dham is actually the original place, abode of the spiritual source of Shivji. It's called Sadashiv. So that is the Mahesh Dham. Above that, there are multiple unlimited planetary systems, and that is called Hari Dham. So we saw the Devi Dham, we described this, then Mahesh Dham above the Brahma Jyoti, where Lord Shiva's original source, that is spiritual source, Sadashiva, his abode is, and then above that there is a space, whole thing is called Hari Dham. Hari means Vishnu or Krishna. He is called Hari because he takes away everybody's miseries. जो हर लेते हैं, सबके दुख हर लेते हैं वो हरि. So that's why he is called Hari, and this is also many times referred as Vaikuntha. And there are unlimited Vaikuntha planets. And these unlimited Vaikuntha planets, there is a abode of each different incarnation that can happen. So there is a dham or abode of Lord Nrsimhadev, there is a abode of Vamandev, there is a abode or planetary system for Varahadev. There are abodes of different incarnations of Chaturbhuja Vishnu, the four-handed Narayana forms. And these are all multitude of planetary systems. They are called Vaikuntha. And in this spiritual world, then topmost is the Goloka Vrindavan Dham, where Krishna is eternally performing his pastimes with his very confidential associates. So, in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that when Brahmaji was given a job for creating progeny, so his first children were 4 Kumaras, Chatush Kumaras, Sanat, Sanatan, Sanandan and Sanat Kumar. And he asked them to create progeny, but they completely denied because they were completely situated in Brahma city. And they said, no, we just want to live as a little boys, excuse me, and dedicate our life for that Brahma Jnana. So they, because of their ability to know about the spiritual world, they could go to up to Vaikuntha Dham. And that's where the description of Vaikuntha Dham is given in the third canto, 15th chapter. I picked very few verses to get the glimpse of that Vaikuntha Dham. So where it says, this verse gives the description of the inhabitants, residents in the Vaikuntha Dham. Vasanti yatra purushaha sarve vaikuntha ye nimitta nimittena dharmena aradhayam harim. Vasanti means जो वहां वास करते हैं, the residents of Vrindavan, yatra purusha, the living entities who live there, how are they? Sarve Vaikuntha Murdaya. They are all having 400 Narayan forms. So all the residents who live in Vaikuntha Dham are 400. And ye nimitta nimittaya dharmena aradhaya harim. And they have only one work. Without any aspiration for any sense gratification, all they are doing is aradhana of Hari. How? Dharmena, by following the regulative principles, by following the Vedic scriptural injunctions, not by their own mental whims. By following the scriptural injunctions, they are continuously engaged in aradhana of Hari. That's the description of the residents of those dham. Then there are also description of the planet, how it looks like. So it says that yatra naihesta sevana nama vanam kama durghe drumai. Drumai means trees. Kama durghe means those are fulfilling the desire, or kalpa vrusha in general we call it. Kalpataru or kalpa vrusha. So those are the desire trees which fulfill all of your desires. And there are many of these. There are forests of these kalpatarus which fulfill all the desires of these residents of the Vaikuntha Dham. And then Sarvata Shruti Vidra Kaivalyam Iva Murtam. And everything there is spiritual. Even the flowers in the bees, of course they are spiritual, but they are always engaged in service of Hari. Even the grass, the birds, the animals, there are thousands of Surabhi cows there. Everybody is continuously engaged in service of the Supreme Lord. And then there are descriptions of flowers given. There are many flowers, which some of them are not even from in this world. And the flowers, even though the flowers have very transcendental aromas, they are very fragrant, but they know one thing, that Tulsi is very dear to Krishna. And because of her austerity, she is always engaged in service to Krishna, so they also worship her. Even though, because in material world, sometimes what happens is, if we think of our quality as really good, then we may become envious of somebody, or we may think of somebody as very low. But here, there is no, even spiritually there is no competition. They always place that, oh, somebody is better devotee than me, somebody is serving Hari better than me. And because they all know that Tulsi is serving Lord, and Lord is always very happy to take a garland of Tulsi around his neck, so they all also worship Tulsi. So the flowers here given us, Mandara Kunda Kurabopala Champakarna Punnaga Naga Bakulambuja Parijata Gandhir Chite Tulasi Abharena Tasya Yasmin Tapa Samareshu Bahu Manayanti. That these flowers, which types of flowers are there? Mandara, Kunda, Kurubaka, Utpala, Champaka, Arana, Punnaga, Nagakeshara, Bakula, Lily, Parijata, and they are all of full transcendental aromas. But even if they are of transcendental aromas, they are conscious of the austerities performed by Tulsi Maharani or Tulsi Devi. And because Tulsi is given a very preferable position by the Lord, who garlands himself with Tulsi leaves. So this is a description of just the Vaikuntha planet. And above this, on top of this in the Vaikuntha planet, is the Golok Vrindavan, which we see on the top, where Radha and Krishna, along with their associate, eternally performing their pastimes. And that is the description Krishna is giving us in this verse. And this Vaikuntha Dham is said that, how is this described? Sahasra Patra Kamalam Gokulakyam Mahatpadam. This is from Brahma Samhita. It is a golden lotus flower with thousands of petals, which is called as Gokula, and which is the Mahatpadam, that is the topmost destination that one can aspire for. Tad karnikaram tad dhama tad anantamsha sambhavam. And that dhama, and the topmost about is the karnikara, the goal of that lotus flower, which is made possible by his first expansion, Krishna's first expansion, that is Balarama, Ananda. He is the one who is always serving in Krishna in different ways. And that's why he is also accepted as Guru, because Guru is the one who teaches, who is representative of Baldev. He is always teaching us how we can serve Krishna. And then Prabhupada mentions this verse from the Brahma Samhita. I am picking only a few of them. There are very beautiful verses in the Brahma Samhita where the description is given. Chintamani prakara sarma sukalpa vriksha laksha vruteshu surabhira vipalayantam lakshmi sahasra shata sambrama sevyamanam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Chintamani prakara. So everything there is made up of Chintamani gem, the touchstone, which you can ask anything to that stone. Then Kalpa Vriksha, we talked about this, the desired trees or Kalpatarus. There are thousands and millions of Kalpatarus there which are fulfilling desires of everybody there. Laksha Vruteshu Surabhi, there are Surabhi cows, they are giving milk abundantly, unlimited. And they are always worshipping Krishna. And to those who are cows, Adhipalayantam, this Gopal or Krishna is always tending those Surabhi cows. And then one more thing, Lakshmi Sahasra Shata. Not one, not two, not 10. Hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis are continuously, wholeheartedly serving Krishna. That Govinda, Brahmaji says that Govindam, who is the Adi Purush, who is the source of everything, including the creation and the controllers for maintaining that creation, O Adi Purusham, Tam Aham Bhajami. I worship that Govinda. So this is the abode we are talking about. Now coming back to today's verse. So this is the glimpse that Krishna gives in this verse. Avyaktokshara ityuktas. So when we see these only two words, there is so much behind these two words, which Krishna gives us a very little glimpse in the Bhagavad Gita. Avyaktokshara ityuktas tamahu paramagati. And that which the Vedantis say that the ultimate paramagati, ultimate destination for anybody who can aspire for. And by somehow or other, if we can get there, we can make ourselves qualified and we can get there. What happens then? Yam prapya. If we can get that, na nivartante, we don't have to return back to this material creation, which is Krishna calls as place of miseries. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. And also ashashvatam means temporary. And Krishna says that tat dhama, that spiritual dhama is paramam mama, that supreme paramadhama is my supreme abode. That's what he's describing in this verse. So if it is unmanifest and we cannot get there, then what is our destination? If we want to eventually get there, we are always, as a living entity, we are always aspiring for happiness. That's why most of us, we theoretically are not, or technically we are not from this country. But we came to this country. Why? We are looking for better life. We are looking for some happiness. So if somebody tells us there is a place where there is no birth, no death, nobody grows old, there is no disease, and you get eternally or ever expanding happiness, who want to go there? Who doesn't want to go there? So how do we get there then? How do we first understand that unmanifest? So in the Brahma Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami explains this. That's something that we cannot understand. We cannot understand Krishna, we cannot understand his abode, we cannot understand his name, we cannot understand his associates, because everything is absolute and everything is spiritual. He is non-different from any of these. Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukta Abhinnatvat Nama Namina. Nam and Nami, Krishna, his name, and the owner of the name, they are non-different. They are spiritual, and that's why they are absolute, and they are Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukta. But that Purna Shuddha, if we are in these contaminants, how can we understand that? So it says that Ata Shri Krishna Namadi na bhavet grajyam indriyaihi. Because Krishna's name, his paraphernalia, his abode, his spiritual abode, he himself are very difficult to understand, grajyam, by indriya, by our jnanendriya, by our material senses. We cannot understand through our material senses these spiritual things. Then what should we do? Sevon mukhehi jivvadau swayameva spuratyada. Sevon mukhe, we should engage in his seva, beginning with jivva. So engage all our senses in his seva, starting with seva, starting with jiva or tongue. And what are the functions of tongue? There are two functions the tongue has:
Speaking and eating.
tasting and eating. Thank you. To tasting and speaking, vibrating. So how can we use these two functions in service of Krishna? For tasting, by prasadam, right? Eating prasadam, food that is offered to Krishna with love and devotion, which Krishna accepts, and the remnants we accept as prasadam. And by vibrating, we can chant his name, we can chant his Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we can glorify Krishna by reciting his instructions in the form of BhagavadGita, or by reciting his pastimes given in the many Vedic literatures, many prayers from Bhagavatam or other Vedic literatures. We can use that vibrating function of tongue for chanting his name or chanting his pastimes. And then what happens? Sevon mukhe jivvalo, when we engage our senses in his service, in his seva, swayam eva spurta, he himself reveals to us. Then we don't have to make separate effort to know him, or know his abode, or know his dham. He himself reveals that to us by engaging our senses in his seva. Isn't that easy? Who doesn't like to eat? We all are aspiring for eating, right? But that simple eating process can be engaged in service of Krishna. Just by offering whatever we eat to him first. And talking, everybody loves talking actually. It's very hard to stop talking many times. But that same talking ability, when we engage in talking about Krishna, that purifies us. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. When we chant Krishna's name, when we chant Hare Krishna mantra, it cleanses our heart. It purifies our heart that has accumulated millions of lifetimes dust of many desires to enjoy. That gets purified. So with this simple process, Krishna himself reveals to us. Isn't that the beauty of very simple process? Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato vaya. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Swalpa, very small endeavor. If you can engage your senses in a very small endeavor in this process of service to me, it can protect you from many abominable things, many big dangers. That's the guarantee Krishna gives us. So why should we wait for them? It's a very simple process. We have nothing to lose. And the gain is very high. We don't have to pay very hefty fees. We don't have to endeavor very hard. Just a simple process can give us very, very highest gain that we can aspire for. That's what our human form of life is made for. So we can make our life successful just by engaging in His service. So how can we do? By very easy process to understand the unmanifest is go on chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Is it very difficult? I don't have to work out for this. The strongest muscle in our body I can use for this. Which is the strongest muscle? Which can do enormous things. It can harm people really badly when we use that muscle inappropriately. Tongue is the strongest muscle we have in our body, and it doesn't take too much effort to chant this. But the outcome is very, very sublime, very big. So with this small, easy process, we can make our life successful and go to the Paramadhama that Krishna is inviting us. He's waiting eagerly for us. He's more eager to see us than we are eager to go there. So with that point, I'll stop here and let's get some reflections. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any thoughts or reflections or any corrections?
Prabhuji,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the class. You mentioned in one of the shlokas earlier, I think from Brahma Samhita, that there are hundreds of thousands of desire cows there who are fulfilling the desires of in the spiritual world. And Vaikuntha, from my understanding, is a place which is desireless. It's not supposed to have desires in Vaikuntha.
Mm-hmm.
So how are these desires different? And why is there a need to have hundreds of thousands of desired trees to fulfill the desires? I understand. I think perhaps these desires are different from the material desires.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can elaborate on that.
Thank you so much for that. It's very beautiful question. So the question asked is, in the Brahma Samhita, we learned that there are many desired trees and many desired fulfilling cows. So in Vaikuntha and Goloka Vrindavan, if we are not supposed to have any desire, then why is there a need for desired cows or desired trees? So it's not that we do not have desire. Actually, having desire is integral part of soul. It is the eternal nature of soul. Soul can never, when I say I, the person or the spiritual spark, it can never be desireless. Actually, being desireless is also a desire. My desire is to be desireless. So it can never be desireless. What is recommended is to purify that desire. So desire, when I desire for my own sense gratification, I become implicated with those desires called material desires, and then that's why I get bound in this material world. That's the very reason actually we are in this material world. In the 7th chapter of BhagavadGita, I guess 27th verse or so, he says that Ichha Dvesh Samuttena Dvandva Mohena Bharata Sarva Bhutani Samoha Sarge Yanti Paramtava. And there are three reasons why we are here. One is Ichha, that is the desire. And what is that desire? Desire to enjoy separate from Krishna. And then Dvesha, that desire is, the desire I have is accompanied by Dvesha, by envy, by hatred. My desire is to enjoy myself, but I don't want others to enjoy. Because I envy everybody else. And that's why we see that if a person gets a big house and then he thinks that he is very happy, but when he learns that, oh, his friend bought a 10 times bigger house than his house, all his happiness immediately vanished. Did something change in his life? Nothing. But he saw, oh, somebody got better than I am. So all his happiness, what he was thinking for happy, for big house, got vanished. Why? Because envy. The desire is accompanied by envy in this material world. Ichcha, dvesha, samudhyana. Because of this, we are all covered by this ichcha and dvesha. And dvandva mohena, we are illusioned by duality. Because of this ichcha and dvesha, I am thinking of, oh, this is good, this is bad, this is hot, this is cold, this is mine, this is not mine. This gives me happiness, that gives me distress. This duality, which is a symptom of that ichcha and dvesha, I am illusion, moha. Ichcha dvesha samudhyena, dvandva mohena bharata, sarva bhutani, all these living entities in this material, sarge are created in this material. They take birth in this material. Yanti paranta. So the desire in material, spiritual world is always to make Krishna happy. So for Krishna's desire, I can work very hard. I will spend all my energy, all my effort and engage whole service, whole thing, my all senses to fulfill Krishna's desire, and that is not forbidden. So all these desire trees, there are Lakshmis, there are desire trees and there are cows, are fulfilling the desires of the devotees or the residents there who eternally wants to fulfill by those desire of Krishna. The very definition of bhakti is actually engaging our senses in the service of Krishna, who is the controller of the senses. It's very beautiful definition that Narada Muni gives actually. That sarvopadi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktir uchyate. Sarva upadi vinirmuktam. We are all carrying different designations here. That I am Indian, I am American, I am a man, I am engineer, I am doctor, so on and so forth. But these designations, upadi, are related to this body, not me. Because when I change this body, everything, even if I have done PhD or I have done doctorate this year, when I change this body, everything, I have to start again with A, B, C, D. Everything is gone. So all these designations, when I get free from these designations, upadhi, sarva upadhi vinimuktam, tat paratvena nirmalam, and when I am free from these designations, I get free. Something receiver problem. Hare Krishna. Okay, doesn't matter. So I think everybody can hear, right? It's on. It's on. Okay. So when I get free and then purified, nirmalam, when I am free from this designation, then Rishika means senses, my material senses. The 5 jnanendriyas, by sense of seeing, sense of touching, sense of tasting, so on and so forth. When I engage Rishikena, Rishikesha Sevanam. Who is Rishikesha? Krishna. Rishika Isha, who is the controller, Isha, of all my senses. When I engage my senses in service of Krishna, what is that called? Bhakti. And everybody in the spiritual world is eternally engaged in his bhakti. It's not that they don't have desire. They have desire, they have superior desire. Okay? Thank you. Very, very nice question. Yes. Any other thoughts? Any comments? No? Okay. It's okay. I think it is working. No. Okay, if not, I think we are over time. I was thinking of doing one round of chanting, but I think we are right at time. So we stop here. So thank you very much for your time and attention. I hope whatever I spoke, if it was good, it's all coming from Acharyas, Prabhupada, and whatever I have learned from senior devotees. And if there are any mistakes I have done, they are all mine. So let me know, and I'll try to correct those. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.